So you believe dreams come true?
Oh, God, I hope so.
I do. And our next guest is someone who quite literally had a vision, a dream as a little kid, and embodied that dream in the world of theater and performance, and is now a living legend because of it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh Johnson.
And it's Andi.
And welcome to The Perfect Time.
Oh, in the morning, nothing compares to waking up with the sound of the sea.
Hooray for Captain Spaulding, the African explorer. Did someone call me Schnorrer? Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Today's guest is Frank Ferrante. He has had a career spanning over 35 years, performed in over 500 cities, been nominated for huge awards, including the Laurence Olivier Award in London. He has been acclaimed by the Wall Street Journal as one of the top 10 performers. He has embodied Groucho Marx for the majority of his career, but also been a character actor. He is a master improviser and comedian. So thank you for being with us
Thank you,
today.
Andi. Thank you, Josh. What a beautiful intro. I couldn't have written it better.
Oh,
I think I did write it for you.
Did you?
I appreciate that. Thank you for
yes,
having me.
But she memorized it,
That's
right?
great. There's no cue card or anything.
I may have bullet pointed the main things, but
Well done. Thank
but
you.
the main thing is an amazing human being who
Thank you.
had a vision
Yes.
at a very early age. Because being friends for some time now, I watched you and your shows growing up at the Sierra Madre Playhouse, and I know that you had a vision at an early age of maybe loving Groucho Marx so much, and then suddenly that path opened up for you later on. So I want to hear your life story in your words.
Well, thank you. Well, I always loved humor. I loved laughing. I loved watching people on screen behave wildly and free and breaking rules. And I was taught by nuns, and it was very strict the way I was raised. So madness appealed to me, and disorder and chaos appealed to me. And it took my breath away because I was a kind of a pretty shy kid growing up.
You shy?
I was shy.
Wow.
I was very shy. So I had fun taking on these big characters, these great comedians. So I like these comedians of another vintage. They were way gone when I was a kid. But then I liked comedy of the day when I was growing up with Mel Brooks and Woody Allen and Steve Martin, all these. I'm a comedy aficionado. But there was something about laughing. I remember laughing, thinking, I am free. You don't think about anything that's happened before, or you don't think about anything that's happening in the moment. You don't think about your future. You're in the moment when you're laughing.
Wow.
So I wanted to be part of that,
Yeah.
and that's where it started. So I started researching comedy and comedians, and I was able to see what I wanted for myself by doing. And I just figured I didn't want to get into a traditional existence. I wanted to do something that was almost a response to living in this crazy world. None of us have figured it out. People think they've got it down, but no one has. So my adjustment to life was through humor.
And I think I used to play by ear.
Now, you mentioned that you were a shy kid. As somebody myself who was deathly shy, okay, would you say that acting was the thing that got you out of your shyness? Was that an escape? Or did you have to overcome it to get into acting? How'd that work for you?
Well, I think, but what you said, it's just like you can take on a character. Like I admire stand-up comedians because they're very close to their self. I think it's the bravest form. I don't have stand-up, but I do a lot of interactive comedy, plays and musicals, but I really like doing audience work, crowd work, bringing people into my shows, whether it's as Groucho Marx, the great comedian in the one-man show I do, or these characters I come up with in Cirque shows, and the Caesar character, and all these crazy, but they're very over the top. They're me exploded. It's like the little cells of me that have just kind of taken over. I can only dream to behave like some of the characters that I play in social settings because it's so improper. It's so rude. It's so it's not political. It's
Not politically correct.
Though I still feel like a kid. I think maybe that's why I still love it because I have that twinkle still and I still feel great. But I was shy. And I think to get to your question, Josh, to me it was a way of getting through life, and still having something to do. I think as a young person I was more comfortable playing someone else than myself. Wow. It's changed now. But there's something very free about taking on a character.
The public responds to the season.
Where do you begin that process of creating a character?
Well, I look for the truth in a character. Like this one character I play is very over the top. wild, the Caesar, and he drinks too much, he does everything too much, he's a lover.
And you invented this character?
And I came up with this character,
That's
but
awesome.
it was kind of inspired by kind of male figures in my life who would take over the room. So I was kind of exaggerating and making fun, and I'm wearing a lounge outfit and big hair, and it's about people who want to be noticed, but and taking them down a little bit, making fun of machismo and the macho guy, and so
you're making a statement through the character.
I think so, and my character likes everything: men, women, dogs, cats. I would say a moccasin isn't safe in his presence. You don't know what he's going to do. He's insane. You can just cut that right out.
No, we love it.
But so I mean, it was like, and all the things that we're told to keep in, our sexuality, our desires, our cravings. My guys come out and just, it's all out there. And others, audience, and it's a clown character. It's not like I'm some kind of
makeup and all,
yeah,
and
full makeup,
yeah.
I mean, like lipstick and a big mole and and streak through my hair and a little mustache. It's a wild Fellini-esque character.
Let's take a look at that photo right now. Wow.
Oh man.
Good Lord.
He's a madman.
Is that really you?
That's me. And it's cathartic. So, but it is jumping off a cliff. You're an actor, and you know what it's like. So when you take someone on and let yourself go, and I like fantasy. I like make believe, and I think I always will. I'll take it over real life any day.
Let's talk a little bit about Groucho Marx. Now, an amazing fact that I read online was that Groucho Marx's son is the one who discovered you. How'd that come about?
That's right. I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, Groucho is considered perhaps the greatest comedian the country, maybe the world, produced in the last 100 years. Great film comedian, television comedian, 72-year career. Probably the greatest comedian to combine verbal humor, and physical humor. It's a classic joke. Is one morning I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know. Just the the turn of a phrase.
Well, you don't expect.
And so he always surprised us. And he was mischievous. He was cynical. He was a wise guy. He always caused chaos in the movies, and I loved him. I thought he was. I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And his brothers, the Marx Brothers, and what happened was it became for me a research of all comedy. But so for me, I wanted to. He was my hero. He was Superman. And for a lot of guys my age at that time, this is like 70s, 80s, we loved him. He was still alive in the 70s. We were all little kids.
Yeah.
And he was still out there in his 80s, still saying these really like shocking things and rude things. And it's like, oh my gosh, you can be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be a shy kid. You don't have to play by the rules. So it became a research of mine, a passion of mine, an obsession of mine. And I finally put on I had the guts to put on a one-person show when I was in college at the University of Southern California as a senior project at USC, and I invited Groucho Marx's son, who was a playwright. I invited Groucho Marx's daughter. I invited a writer who was about 90 years old.
How did you get a hold of them?
There was a filmmaker by the name of Robert Whitey, who is a director and writer for Curb Your Enthusiasm now.
Okay.
He's a great talent, but he was a kid back in the day. He'd done a documentary about the Marx Brothers. I contacted him, and he had a list of all these people that Groucho was associated with. So family, friends, writers. So I invited everyone. Lucille Ball, everyone was alive.
Wow.
That knew him. But the key one showed up. Groucho had died 8 years prior, but now his son and daughter are at my campus.
Wow.
Like fifth row center, and I have to perform their father. I'm 22 years old.
That's not overwhelming
Not
at
at
all.
all.
You're not going to be nervous in that scenario.
It was amazing, and so
The pressure must have been.
I had a lot of guts too. I mean, I don't know. I was just driven.
You were how old?
I was 22. It was my 22nd birthday. But we talk about this was a fantasy of mine. I wanted to be part of this tradition, this world.
Wow.
But so Arthur said to me, Arthur Marx, Groucho's son, said, if I ever do a show about, he was a writer, if I ever do a show about my father, I'd like to use you. I'm going, yeah, right.
Wow.
And I got a standing ovation that night.
Wow.
And it changed my life.
So you killed it.
And within a year I was in New York, and then within a year that London. It just kept snowballing.
Yeah.
And so I had this roll down, which was incredible. I was a 22-year-old boy playing this iconic comedian from age 15 to 85. I mean, it was insane. And I was a gerontology minor at USC, so I was always observing elderly people, and I thought, well, maybe I'll go.
Can we
stop
yeah,
you right
I was
here?
gonna say.
I'm sorry. You're a what?
Gerontology, study of aging.
A
Gerontology.
Minor.
This is not only in entertainment; it's an education right now. Gerontology. USC has a world-renowned gerontology department.
You're the study of aging.
Study of
That
aging.
was your major.
Well, it was a minor.
Minor.
It was a minor.
was your
Actually, it was
minor.
short 2 units, if we're going to be honest. But so I was a theater major and a gerontology.
Something under a
almost minor.
Almost minor.
Wow.
And so I took a lot of classes.
What is not to digress, but what does one do with gerontology major?
You work with the elderly. You could go into the business of aging, and now it's a huge business. So I
Wow.
thought that might be a good way to spend
Yeah.
my life is helping the quality of the elderly. And
In some way, you are now because you are
I am
bringing
now
people.
elderly. Is what you're saying.
No,
And I'm helping myself now.
no.
You can escort me out to the door with my.
Oh no.
What I really meant to say was that you are now by bringing people joy and laughter, and people who are older who do remember Groucho Marx a lot. They're saying
Well,
he's back.
You're dead on. So what I get to do with this kind of humor is play it for young audiences, kids, teenagers.
You're introducing Groucho Marx to a lot of people who are in
Yeah.
their 20s probably
Yeah.
don't even know who he is.
That's true.
In these days.
And reminding people who know him how great he was.
Yeah, so you're just stretching all the generations.
And it's funny you say that because I played 500 cities, as you mentioned, and I was in Alamogordo. I can remember all these towns, New Mexico, and in the audience there was a 94-year-old woman and a 7-year-old boy sitting next to each other, and the 94-year-old woman had seen the Marx Brothers, the funniest comedy team,
Wow.
on a Broadway tour in 1928. Okay, and the boy, that 7-year-old, had never seen Groucho Marx, and they're laughing at the exact same jokes, the same improv. And I remember getting off the stage going, I got the greatest job in the world. I just made a 7-year-old and a 94-year-old
At the same time.
And the show still has enough edge where you can be 20s, 30s, whatever age, and it still has enough sting. It's not I don't see it as a tribute show because I spend a third of my work doing improv. So I'm working a crowd, and it's got a little bit of an edge, and that I like that.
What do you do for a living, Greg? Nothing. No, you're in show business too. Eh?
What's your father Marty do?
He's a freelance writer.
How long's he been out of work?
And what's your mom do for a living?
A lawyer.
A lawyer. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
I like to see, I was just in Connecticut recently, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Right, in the audience.
In the audience, are they
Yeah.
are people going to show up still for this show? And they do. And then this show, the audience literally buoyed me. I mean, it's just
They booed you?
Booed, no, buoyed.
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 Yeah, buoyed.
Oh, it's a close one.
Yeah, it's a fine line between booed and buoyed. They helped me float
They helped you float.
through the
Buoyed.
through the evening. They buoyed me.
Learning a lot of
Just
new
gave you
terms.
so
That's
much
right.
material.
More education, less entertainment.
Buoyed
We'll be
and-
right back.
And buoyed and Germanologist. What was it?
Gerontology.
Gerontologist.
Gerontology.
I don't know. I got the
Study
idea.
of old German people. That's what that is. So that's it. So I'm having fun.
What would you advise either a young person or maybe a person of any age, if they had a vision for themselves, something inspired them, what could give them a sense of purpose and encouragement to follow in that track?
Remember the time that you felt really good and what was associated with that. What makes you feel good? Is there anything you can attach to that in terms of a profession? For me, it was entertainment. It was humor. Specifically, if I were to speak to, and I've done a lot of outreach in universities and in high schools, I would say if you want to act, come up with a one-person show. It could be autobiographical, just storytelling. Get in front of an audience, tell your story, or take on an historic figure or someone you admire, someone whose story you think needs to be told.
Yeah.
And I think that will sustain you when you're not working. Plenty of times I have not been employed, but I have my one-man show, so I can put it up in my local town when I'm, not working or bored or need to keep my chops up. But so I would recommend that if I were speaking to students, I say develop a one-person show, and you can do it anywhere. You can do it in your living room. You can do it in a small theater. You can do it at a 2,000-seat theater. That's what I would suggest. Go where your love is, whatever it is.
And what would you say then in terms of getting over the fears of the voices or the judgment or even just the reality of what life is presented to us to be, what reality is, right? And breaking free of that.
That's a great question because I fight it all the time still. I don't think it changes. There's always fear for me. Not everyone, but I.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, most performers are nervous.
I get scared doing this show.
Yeah, really, there you go. You would never know.
He's mostly scared of me.
Oh, well, who isn't really? The
Scary
fierce
woman.
power that is Andi.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
I paid
it.
you to say that.
There you go. But I don't know. It's just a practice. I don't know how to be calm. I don't. I just. I think doing the work is what kind of settles me. Just the more I rehearse, the more prepared I am, the less fearful I am. I think that's all I can say is preparation's your friend.
Got it.
And then whatever other practices you have to help chill you out, whether it's meditation or exercise, all things I should be doing.
Even after a 35-year career.
I'm kidding. That's not true.
Is there,
What the hell's what's in this? No wonder why you're always smiling.
I wanted to test how good of an actor he really is, so I didn't put anything in his mug. I wanted to see.
Yeah, it's actually empty.
That is now.
I thought it was empty.
We'll be back.
So you
That's all, folks.
you filled his mug. You filled his mug.
She fills my heart and my mug. Anyway, that'll be $20 for the non-ruined DVD.
I was gonna get to this one. It's fine. It's okay.
This is the comedy portion of the segment. I could have done a spit take for you.
This is where I was headed next, though. Right here. Yeah. Might as well be a spit take. Frank Ferrantini. Frank Ferrante. I tell you.
There it is.
Frank Ferrante, star of.
Can I just call you Frankenstein?
Call me Frank. Call me Frank.
That's where he was going.
Is this Italian?
It is Italian.
Is this Italian? You know, I'm part Italian.
Yeah, which part?
Still trying to figure that out.
Well, that's good. I thought I liked you. In part.
This is your one-man show, right?
It is.
Right?
This
is incredible.
This was on PBS.
Groucho.
It's currently playing on PBS. It rolled out
Nationwide.
nationally. Yes, as of April. So it's been some months.
Buy DVDs these days.
I think you can go eventually. You can get it on my website, but eventually it'll be streamed everywhere in the next few months.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
There you go.
This is for you. You can.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Take that home.
Yeah, now that you
Is there
ruined
anything
it.
in here?
Oh,
no,
there you go.
There's
Good.
Thank you, Frank.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
That's fantastic.
Happy holidays.
Nothing short of masterful. I agree.
Anyway,
Well, Frank,
Yes, he said with enthusiasm.
I gotta say it's been a pleasure and honor to have you on the show.
Yes, it is.
Groucho, this is the DVD.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't yet, make sure you check that out, or check out the one-man show in person.
and if you find yourself in Chicago in the next year,
Yes, I'll be
right?
there through half of 2023.
Half
I'll
of
be there.
2023. All right.
Which half?
Oh, the first half. But thank
Yeah,
you.
that
Look,
was
there you go. Now it's happening. Who knew? Beautiful. Yes, I'll be doing a Cirque show out there, kind of a variety show where I'm the host.
So you're a gymnast too.
I am. You should see my aerial work.
I would plan on it.
It's okay. Well, if you're into the splits, you're in for a good time.
Very good.
You do splits in your suit too.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, Andy, I got to ask you.
Yes.
Oh, no, not you.
Oh,
her.
I want to
this
be Andy.
You're Frank.
I'm
You're
taking.
Frank.
I
This
want
is
to play
Andy.
Andy now.
You can.
There we go.
There's only one. Aww. You know, you can be Andy. Can you be Andy? No, do it. I'll be
can't.
Frank. I can't be Frank.
No, you
Frank
can't.
is too much
Back to you.
Oh, man. We'll go ahead and break down.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, Andy, I have to ask you: is it a good time to see Frank's show?
I think it's always the perfect time.
And we're out.
Sweet like you.